So, Coach, looking back at last meet, you guys were at Notre Dame, turned in solid performances on both sides. One of the things we were just, hitting on with the athletes is what really came through at that meet is the depth that you have on both teams. You had a lot of runners, up in that pack towards the top. What can you say about that?
Well, that's one of the things that is really great about our team right now. When we get into the bigger meets, that's something that makes us a better team than some of those other teams that might have 1, 2, 3, maybe even 4 runners that are really good. But if they don't have that 5th runner, that's the nature of our sport. Then if one of their athletes is 130th overall, and we've got all 5 of our athletes in the top 60, that's a fantastic thing, and it makes us a really strong team. It means that we can take a little bit more of a risk. We can send some of our athletes out. Maybe we're not sure if they're quite ready for a certain group or a certain pace, but we can take a risk, roll the dice a little bit, tell them to go out hard, and ultimately we know that we've got a whole cast to back them up in case things go wrong.
Yeah, and speaking of that depth, you guys have had, a lot of runners show up and step up as, it feels like every meet there's a different runner, coming in first from, the Red Hawk contingent. A lot of them underclassmen as well. So do you feel like you're at a point as a program where you finally have the depth at underclassmen that really shines through as opposed to just having, obviously the star seniors or juniors?
Sure. And that's one thing we talk about with our recruits is we were really on this brink of flipping the program over to this very well-recognized program. We've got the men's and the women's team both are, I think, on the edge of making it to the national meet this year. And it does require somebody to make a breakthrough, maybe 2 or 3 of them to make a breakthrough, but everybody else has to just show up and continue doing what they've been doing. We're on a progression that's a little bit different this season compared to other seasons because we had such a late start. I didn't have them race in September until the very end of the month, and it was something that maybe knocked us off our tracks a little bit at Ohio State, but we came out and performed really well at Notre Dame. I would say that it was the first race that really represented our fitness, and now this week, I think we get to step out there. They're all feeling really good, and I think we get to show what kind of team we really are. We do expect people to step up and start running faster than they ever have before, but I think that's a given.
Yeah, you guys have a great chance to do that this weekend. Obviously, a lot of really strong teams are going to be in attendance, but it's a chance to, really represent yourself on a national stage. Do you guys feel like you're really, hitting your peak at this point of the season and ready to go?
Yeah, I think it's lining up really well. And for the MAC meet, which is now only 2.5 weeks away, and then 2 weeks later is the regional, where we get a chance to fight for one of those spots to the national meet. I don't think the timing could be any better. I think we almost risked losing the confidence in how great we are right now with having that late start, but now I know that it was the right decision, and I think we're going to walk away from this weekend really pleased with the results.
All right, Coach, good luck. Thank you. So, Carly, looking back on your last meet at Notre Dame, you guys turned in a really solid performance, taking second as a team. You had, just like the men's team, a lot of runners up there near the top, maybe not any of the huge performances, but you guys were all there as a team. What can you say about, the depth of the team this year and just how many solid runners you guys have?
Yeah, I mean, we're really deep. We've got a lot of young talent. A lot of our seniors are doing really well this season. And we just are a really deep team, which is really good going into the conference meet and going into this pre-national meet this weekend. We've got a lot of runners who could be top scorers for our MAC team, and so that's really valuable to have.
Yeah, and speaking of the underclassmen who have showed up and performed, now that you're one of the seniors, you've been in that role before, but now you're one of the leaders. How do you think the team has maybe sort of come along since you were an underclassman, and how do you take on the role of being one of the senior leaders?
Yeah, I mean, we've come a long way. I would say that we have definitely grown as a team. We've been able to run together. We've been able to pack run. We've been able to train together, which is really good. That's something that we've slowly developed since I've been a freshman. It's really nice to have people to run with, and it's really nice to run as a pack because that just puts us in even better of a position to go out there and have good showings for big meets and things like that.
Yeah, and speaking of big meets, you guys have a pretty big one this weekend with pre-nationals. Obviously, one of the biggest meets of the year. A lot of competitive teams will be in attendance. What's your mindset? What are you looking forward to this weekend?
We're ready to go out there and do something big. We are definitely a team this year that is willing to take some risks, and this weekend is going to be no different. We are up against some really good teams from all over the country, and including some teams within our own conference. So this weekend is going to be a good showing of what we expect to do at the conference meet, and just to give everyone a chance to go out there and run a really good race.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so Ryan, we're getting ready for pre-nationals weekend here. Looking back 2 weekends ago, you guys had a pretty strong performance over at Notre Dame. What really stood out from the men's team, you guys tied for first, of course, was the depth of the team. You had a lot of runners, in a pack there towards the top, and throughout the season, a lot of different guys have stepped up. So can you kind of talk about the mindset of the team, maybe what's gotten you to that point?
Yeah, so it brings me back to my freshman, sophomore year. We had one, maybe two at most, under the 25-minute barrier. But at Notre Dame, we had 6 at least under 25 minutes for 5 miles, which is further than the 8K. So that was pretty exciting. It's definitely the strongest Miami team I've ever been a part of. So we're just really excited.
Yeah, and now that you're in that position as a senior, you've obviously got a lot of talented underclassmen now, but also a really good crop of upperclassmen that you're a part of. Can you talk about, the changes you've seen and how it feels now to be kind of a leader of the team with all these younger guys below you?
Yeah, it's really exciting. The mentality of the team has just progressed over the years. When I first came here, it was it was a little bit serious, but we've just grown as a team. We're way more competitive. We're running together as a pack for the first time since I've been here, which is really exciting. The season's coming together really nicely. We're training really well. It's going better than I've ever seen it. As a wise man once said, the peanut butter jelly sandwiches are made, and we're just ready to get to work.
All right, yeah, and you'll get to work this weekend at pre-nationals, obviously one of the biggest events of the year. Can you just talk a little about the team's mindset going into that, what you're expecting?
Yeah, we're expecting really fierce competition. It's one of the most competitive meets in the nation, other than the regionals and nationals. So we're just looking to pack up well, run as well as we can, and beat some really good teams.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.